watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Coming up, a fatal crash in Diamond, Missouri claims the life of a man.
We're looking good to start this Friday morning now, but summer heat, possible rain chances. We got a lot to track coming up.
And we bring you the latest video game news, including the release of a classic game on the Nintendo Switch. All that and more coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. A fatal crash in Diamond, Missouri leaves about 1,000 customers without power in the city. On Thursday, authorities say before 5 p.m. they responded to a single car crash south of Cherry Road on US 59. They say the driver was by himself and was traveling south when he crossed traffic and went into a ditch. The vehicle broke a utility pole and hit a building. The driver died at the scene. At last report, power has been restored. On Thursday, fire crews in Joplin battled a fire at the 120-year-old Carnegie Library building. The first call for the fire was at 5 a.m. Smoke was coming out of the basement. Firefighters determined it was under control shortly after 8 yesterday morning, but it rekindled that afternoon. The library had stopped operating the old building in the late 1970s. It's now privately owned. Authorities say the building has significant damage in the basement, along with fire and smoke damage to the upper floors. There's also water damage to all floors. However, the roof remains intact and the building is apparently sound. No word on the cause of that fire. Lawrence County, Missouri man is sentenced in a homicide case. Officials initially charged Matthew Abney with several crimes, including first-degree murder for the 2019 shooting death of Abney's roommate, Coy Cole. Abney took an Alford plea, which means he maintains his innocence but admits there is enough evidence to convict him. Most of the charges against Abney were dropped, and the first-degree murder charge was changed to second-degree murder. Authorities sentenced Abney to 30 years in prison. The Oronogo, Missouri Police Department issues a warning for Facebook Marketplace ads. They say they received reports of homes being listed for rent on the marketplace, asking for a deposit. They say the ads they looked at were fraudulent and have been reported to Facebook. And they also found more fraudulent ads for cars. They warn that before sending any money to any person online, you should verify the identity of the person who's posting the ad. Downstream Casino hosts a celebration for indigenous cultures. On Thursday, the casino partnered with Quapaw Nation to commemorate the tribe's 150th anniversary powwow with From the Res and Beyond Festival. It's one of the largest celebrations in the country for indigenous culture. The festival included art and music with headlining acts by Haluchi Nation, formerly known as A Tribe Called Red.
Everybody's smiling out here. There's a lot of cool people hanging out with nice cameras, taking awesome pictures of our people doing amazing things, because we should all be doing that, lifting each other up.
Other acts included Native American hip-hop artist DJ Superman, a longtime blues rock band Indigenous, and the Grammy-winning drum group Northern Cree. Well, this summer heat may be a huge cause for sweating, but so is exercise. Miami Public Library took to Rotary Park for a free exercise event for kids. The Kids Fitness Frenzy Days event was for kids ages 8 to 12. Activities included an obstacle course, water balloons, hula hoops, and maybe the best part, a healthy snack demonstration.
Oh, health is so important. Kids these days, they're on games, they're sitting at home, they don't want to get outside. It's so important to get them outside and let them know the importance of moving around, eating healthy, and making those better choices.
Well, the event ran from 9:30 to 12:30 yesterday morning. Well, take a look at this cuteness. A Massachusetts zoo welcomes a baby porcupine. That's also known as a porcupet. Stone Zoo says the baby, believed to be male, was born Saturday, weighing in at just 1 pound, but he is gaining weight and appears to be healthy. This is the third porcupet for 9-year-old mother Prickles and 10-year-old dad Shadow. Prehensile-tailed porcupines are born with soft quills that harden over time.
Probably
you can cuddle with them when they're
I know,
little.
it's like we were thinking the same thing. It's like, that's probably the only time you want to handle and cuddle with a porcupine. But
yeah. I just watched Sing 2 for the first time last night. There's a little porcupine character in that.
Huh.
I love it. The scene where they all have to cram into the elevator with the porcupine. That's fun.
All right. I mean, I don't want to talk about the forecast. I mean, like, we could talk about this porcupine or keep showing the video for a bit, but
I just don't upset mom and dad. That's what, like, they're very willing to let someone hold their baby, which I find interesting, because you know what happens when porcupines get mad, Nick?
no, I don't.
They shoot quills at you out of fear or protection.
I did not know they did that.
They can shoot their quills at you. Yes. That doesn't feel good.
Well, the more you know. You always learn something new each day. All right, we're going to switch gears. Let's talk about our weather setup at the jet stream level, that is. We're still finding ourselves on the warmer side of the jet, but at the surface we do have a cold front that's going to try its best to maybe give a couple spots a little relief from the heat later this afternoon. But all the front's doing right now is trying to bring some additional rain and even a couple storms across northern Kansas north of the I-70 corridor. For us, though, it's just trying to bring in a little bit of cloud cover our way. We don't have anything to show for it on the radar right now, but again, it could get a little bit of a workout later on today. Right now, though, 7th range line, we're looking good outside, but bouncing up to 74 already. Last hour we were in the lower 70s at Joplin Regional. Everybody, though, is checking in with upper 60s to lower 70s. Actually, a couple more mid 70s around the rest of the Joplin area. Everybody, though, that sun rising, we'll waste no time heating up again throughout the day. 78 this morning, 91 by noon. Highs near 96 with maybe a stray storm or two for a couple of spots. Most of us, though, are going to stay dry during the day. But that front I showed you parks itself right on top of us for Saturday and Sunday. That'll keep a lot of cloud cover around and some scattered thunderstorm chances. But we're not talking about washout rain. Not everyone's going to see it, but it's going to stay hot nonetheless. So 94 for Saturday and Sunday. We're drier by the 4th, but trending hotter with highs near 98. And I hate to say it, Tanya, I do not like putting triple-digit numbers for highs in the 7-day, but that's what we may have to put up with Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week.
I thought you were about to recite like a Dr. Seuss saying, like, I do not like triple-digit temperatures. Sam, I am.
I was just trying to make it rhyme. It's like,
Yeah.
I do not like the triple-digit. I do not like it not one bit.
There you
That's
go.
the best I can do right now.
That'll work, yes. You made an effort, and that's all it is.
A for effort at the very least.
There you go. Thanks, Nick. Up next, we'll take a look at how fentanyl is causing a lot of deaths, especially in teens. And later, why there's a need for more firefighters. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. In Health Watch this morning, most U.S. hospitals are not complying with the new federal law that requires them to post their prices for common procedures and services. Advocates say it's important for both consumers and employers who pay for insurance coverage to give them an opportunity to shop for the best price. However, according to a new study published this month in the Journal of the American Medical Association, more than half of U.S. hospitals are not complying with the hospital price transparency law, and they're not being held accountable either. Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services issued more than 350 warnings to hospitals about their failure to comply with the price transparency law. The study found so far only 2 hospitals have faced fines. CMS officials defended their enforcement efforts, saying their action against non-compliant hospitals includes written warnings and corrective action requests. Sounding the alarm on a deadly trend, the Drug Enforcement Administration is reporting a nationwide spike in mass overdoses. One dangerous drug is behind it all, fentanyl. It's so bad we're losing a life to overdose every 5 minutes, and that's according to the Director of National Drug Control Policy. Isabel Rosales reports on what's driving this rise and the new drug authorities worry could be next.
You can just see his smile. He's so proud.
Memories are all Shelby Cooper has of her youngest brother. Ryan was 22 years old when he died from an overdose last year.
I did hug him through the body bag. And that was the last time I hugged him.
His family ultimately piecing it together. Ryan ordered pills online. He never knew they were laced with fentanyl. Rashida Weathers runs a DEA lab in Maryland.
This is enough fentanyl to kill 1.5 million people.
Her team tests drugs seized in DEA busts.
We're seeing cocaine laced with fentanyl, methamphetamine, marijuana, heroin.
At DEA labs, authorities say 2 out of every 5 pills found to contain fentanyl have a deadly amount in them. Jared Forget leads the DEA's Washington division.
I have 20 years with DEA. I can't tell the difference if it's a legitimate pill or a counterfeit pill.
Victims are getting younger and younger, often using apps like Snapchat to buy the deadly dupes. Take a look. It only takes this tiny amount for fentanyl to kill 5 people. Last year, more Americans died from fentanyl than from car crashes and gun violence combined, according to the CDC. The DEA is now seeing a new threat emerge, known as ISO. The agency says it is as dangerous and deadly as fentanyl, but hasn't yet boomed.
The next drug of the future will happen. Drug trafficking is always evolving.
I'm Isabel Rosales reporting.
Well, something has crash landed on the moon, but NASA says it didn't send it there. The space agency released this photo of the moon's surface highlighting a double crater. According to NASA, a mysterious rocket body created 2 large connected divots when it crashed on the moon. Astronomers discovered the object heading toward a lunar collision late last year. They don't know where the rocket body came from, but they say it's the first one to create a double crater on impact. Agency believes the images may eventually lead to astronomers learning more about the strange object. So my question, Nick, is this on the light side or the dark side of the moon?
I don't know. Isn't it all dark in the end? I had to give a nod to that.
Didn't come from NASA, but did it come from another country or another place in space?
Now all I want to do is just listen to Dark Side of the Moon.
Right.
But we've got a show to do. We've got to move on. And for those of you that didn't catch the forecast yet, let's bring things back down to earth and look at the surface map here. We have a front that was northwest of the region, a lot farther northwest of the region the other day, but this is starting to edge closer to us to impact parts of the holiday weekend. But this morning, any rain or storms with the front is north on the long Interstate 70. In northern parts of Kansas. Maybe getting a little bit of cloud cover from that, but we're all dry this morning. Maybe a slightly different story later on today, but temperature-wise, we're at 74 in Joplin. Nice skies up top, but as we continue to warm throughout the course of the day, we'll take temperatures right now in the upper 60s to almost mid-70s. By 9 a.m., we're going to be well beyond, well, actually at 8 a.m. rather, pardon me. We'll be at 78 and then pushing highs near 96 this afternoon with the light south breeze at 5 to 10. And the same goes for much of the area. Despite the front coming in and partly sunny skies, we're going to be near 90 at the noon hour and then topping out in the mid-90s this afternoon. But that front continues to pull in the humidity, could spark a random isolated thunderstorm or two. Most of us staying dry though. I think we're dry this evening, and then Saturday morning, here comes another wave that could bring in some scattered storms starting Saturday morning, and then maybe another shot Saturday afternoon and Sunday afternoon. But the front doesn't scrub out temperatures though. We'll be in the mid-90s for Saturday and Sunday. Drier and hotter for the 4th with highs of 98 and triple-digit heat. Like it or not, that's what's lined up for us by the middle of next week. More news coming up. All right, this next story has my attention for sure. New video games featuring Super Mario, Pac-Man, and Sonic the Hedgehog. They're heading to the Nintendo Switch. Rick Damagello reports.
New games from Nintendo's publishing partners feature familiar faces, starting with Pac-Man World RE-PAC. Gamers get to gobble ghosts August 26th.
Bring the magic back to Dreamlight Valley.
A new Disney adventure arrives on the Switch in Disney Dreamlight Valley. The life simulation adventure, set in a world inhabited by Disney and Pixar characters, launches September 6th.
Mario and the Rabbids blast off for a galactic adventure in
Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope reunites Super Mario with the Raving Rabbids in a turn-based battle adventure hitting the Switch on October 26th. The Speedy Blue Hedgehog is back in Sonic Frontiers, featuring familiar Sonic gameplay elements in a franchise-first open-world setting. Gamers can grab the golden rings this holiday season.
I finally found the secret of Monkey Island.
After more than a decade, a fan-favorite franchise gets a new release in the piratical adventure Return to Monkey Island, setting sail on the Switch later this year. The latest Minecraft spin-off is a chip off the old block as the action strategy-based Minecraft Legends smashes its way onto the Switch in 2023. Leveling up in Hollywood, I'm Rick Damagella.
A lot of goodies coming up. We'll get back to the forecast a little bit here. Well, actually, do I have enough time? Oh, yeah, this is my weather block. I'm sorry. I thought we were heading to a commercial break, but let's just touch base on where we are right now while I'm here in some form or another. We're sitting underneath mostly sunny skies right now. We're at 74 in Joplin, south breeze at 8, but it's starting to pick up the humidity again. It's at 82%, but those dew points, I don't like seeing them back near 70 degrees, but that's exactly where we are right now. Upper 60s to mid 70s. That's where a lot of us are at 7:20. And looking throughout the course of the day, again, we'll just continue to quickly warm up throughout the day. 91 degrees by noon, pushing highs near 96. Actually, with an incoming front, we'll turn partly sunny throughout the day with additional humidity, maybe a couple random thunderstorms. How random? Well, let's walk you through the future track. Partly sunny. Everybody near 90 by the start of the afternoon. Then as the front edges closer, even more. Very isolated thunderstorm chances. A lot of us staying dry, and I think everybody's dry mainly throughout much of this evening. But tomorrow, the front sets up shop right on top of us. Mostly cloudy skies for Saturday, maybe some scattered storms in the morning. Then we'll just continue with scattered storms. But you can see how it won't be raining all day, and it's going to be hit or miss. That's going to be the overall theme for Saturday with highs near 94, and again on Sunday with highs again around 94. Drying out for the 4th, but trending hotter with highs near 98, and then triple digits lining up for the middle of next week. Now we'll be back after the break.
It's time to honor today's four-state hero, Frank Peterson. Sergeant Peterson served in the Army National Guard from 1978 to 2000. He served with the Kansas National Guard 891st Engineer Battalion. During his service, he earned numerous medals, including Army Achievement Medals. A native of Fort Scott, Kansas, we thank you, today's four-state hero, Frank Peterson. The heat of the wildfire season is coming, and the U.S. Forest Service is worried it might not be prepared. Jake Karalexis has more on the intense training process some of the latest recruits are going through to get them ready for another busy season.
That's right. The U.S. saw a record number of wildfires last year. This year is on track to be even busier, and the Forest Service is doing whatever it can to find firefighters and train them in time. You're looking at the next group of wildland firefighters in Washington State.
We have to be flexible and adapt to an ever-changing situation and kind of be ready to move.
Soon, Luciana Labadie and her team will be ready to go anywhere in the country to fight wildfires. But making it to that point is tough.
You're out there working really long days and all kinds of adverse conditions.
And finding people to train might be even harder.
There's a national hiring effort to help increase our firefighters.
Mike Davis helps find new wildland firefighters each year.
Take less, pass it on.
Take less. He says right now is a hard time to recruit.
We'll start at the local schools here, the high schools, trying to recruit our entry-level positions.
But it can be a tough sell.
Swinging.
Going into this season, I did not have housing offered to me as part of this position. The nearest towns that do or may offer housing are either pretty far commute or have pretty steep rates.
And those sacrifices are why Davis has had to look everywhere to try to find enough people.
It's a pretty hard job, and especially, when we talk about, a fast food chain that you can get paid $15 an hour.
There were almost 60,000 wildfires in the U.S. each of the last 2 years. Labadie says she hopes enough people join her in the fight to protect property and save lives.
It's kind of an ongoing uphill climb that we're facing.
Earlier this year, a federal law increased the starting salary for entry-level firefighters by up to $20,000 to try and help recruitment. That brings the average salary to around $60,000. In Seattle, Jake Karalexis, Fox News.
Another half hour of news and weather is just ahead. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14, we're going to take a look at the price of fireworks this year. And a Kentucky man sets up an eel sanctuary. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back.
It's now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:29. Let's take a look at today's top stories. A Lawrence County, Missouri man learns his fate in a homicide case. Officials initially charged Matthew Abney with several crimes, including first-degree murder for the 2019 shooting death of Abney's roommate, Coy Cole. Abney took an Alford plea, which means he maintains his innocence but admits there is enough evidence to convict him. Most of the charges against Abney were dropped, and the first-degree murder charge was changed to second-degree murder. Authorities sentenced Abney to 30 years in prison. The Oronogo, Missouri Police Department issues a warning for Facebook Marketplace ads. They say they receive reports of homes being listed for rent on the marketplace asking for a deposit. They say the ads they looked at were fraudulent and have been reported to Facebook. They also found more fraudulent ads for cars. They warn that before sending any money to any person online, you should verify the identity of the person who is posting the ad. Missouri Governor Mike Parson signs a controversial House Bill 1878, also known as the Election Integrity Bill. This bill requires voters to have a government-issued photo ID in order to vote. Some activists worry this will undermine elections and prevent Missourians from having their voices heard. But the Jasper County Clerk disagrees.
I absolutely support the bill. The vast majority of it is things that we worked on when I was in the Missouri legislature. I think it is a good comprehensive bill. What is great about it is there's some accountability things that are part of this bill that Jasper County already does.
The bill prohibits touchscreen voting machines and requires cybersecurity checks. It also creates a 2-week window to cast an absentee ballot. No excuse needed. Southeast Kansas and Oklahoma, or SKOL Railroad, celebrates the beginning of an upgrade project in Southeast Kansas. U.S. Senator from Kansas, Jerry Moran, showed up to speak at Thursday's ribbon cutting in Cherryville. The upgrade will allow for bigger and faster trains to be used on the railway. It's being paid for with a $27 million grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation and will help local railroad companies in the 4-state area.
This infrastructure improvement is going to allow for numerous customers to relocate here. It's going to allow us to handle more tonnage. It's going to allow us to be faster in the way we serve customers. It's going to be much safer. It's going to allow for us to redirect investment into our team members so that we can support a more dynamic team to better serve customers.
Construction is expected to be completed by the middle to end of 2023. Some area teachers put their skills to the test for the title of Teacher of the Year. The Southwest Center for Educational Excellence hosted the Southwest Missouri Regional Teacher of the Year competition. A dozen local educators took part in the competition, which involved interviews about how they teach.
I have just always loved working with kids, and especially people with disabilities, and it's just something that I always wanted to do. And once I started doing it, I realized how much I actually did really want it and how much I loved it.
Winners of Thursday's event will move on to compete at the state level. A family makes a heartwarming donation to Mercy Hospital. The family donated a cuddle cot in remembrance of a situation they went through. Cuddle cot is a bed that's refrigerated in a way that can preserve the body of a baby who is stillborn. The cot provides a chance for the families to say goodbye and take photos. This isn't the first cot the family's organization has donated.
In 2017, we officially became a foundation recognized, of course, as a non-for-profit entity. And so since that time, we have been able to, this is the 8th cuddle cot that we have been able to donate to various hospitals.
Family provided the cot in honor of the baby they lost in hopes that parents who find themselves in the same situation will be able to find comfort in having more time with their baby. Well, the new antenna weighing 12.5 tons is now at the top of the tower. For now, we are broadcasting from a temporary antenna a little bit lower on the tower as we prepare to transition to our new, more powerful transmitter. Our signal might be a little glitchy, or some people may not even have one for the time being. But when this project is finished, we will be broadcasting with more power than ever. You can check out the progress anytime on our website at koamnewsnow.com/power. Well, a rare portrait by celebrated painter Francis Bacon brings in big bucks at an auction this weekend. The study for Portrait of Lucian Freud sold at Sotheby's for nearly $53 million. That amount far exceeded expectations. Art experts had predicted it would go for about $42 million. According to Sotheby's, this portrait is now the most valuable single-panel Bacon painting to be sold at auction. This piece was done in 1964 and is an intimate rendering of Freud, who was Bacon's close friend at the time. The two later had a falling out. It had been intended to be the center of a multi-part art format before Bacon decided the work should be seen individually.
I'm just hungry for bacon now.
Yeah, I don't think he used any bacon in the painting.
No. I'm sure there's got to be some type of like bacon art, not just an art done by an artist.
I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
I'm sure there is a lot of bacon art.
I know, it's weird that I've seen a little while back about like sculptures made of like butter and all this other interesting stuff.
I've seen bananas too. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm just struggling to think how that would work. But in the meantime, I forgot where we are in this block now. It's like, this is where my mind is, everybody. Is this weather or is this? Okay.
To your forecast, because you're going to be baking out there this weekend in the heat.
Yeah, if it's not this weekend, you might be sizzling with the real triple-digit heat that'll come our way by the middle of next week. I apologize, folks. My mind is not here today, but we can focus on the weather setup here. We've got a cold front knocking on the door just to the north and west of us. It's been providing rain and storms for areas along the north of I-70 across northern parts of Kansas. Around here, we're just getting a little bit of cloud cover from that. We're going to stay dry this morning, but as that front edge is closer, the radar network may not show anything in our area now, but it could try to pick up on a few thunderstorms later on this afternoon. Otherwise, we're looking good from 7th and Range Line. It's mostly sunny, 74 degrees, but that dew point in the upper 60s already. It's hinting that as the front approaches, it is certainly pulling in more moisture. So we have everybody in the upper 60s to mid 70s right now. And unfortunately, we're still going to climb upward on the thermometer, even with that front bringing us partly sunny skies by noon and maybe a few isolated storms late in the afternoon. In fact, we'll be at 91 by noon and then pushing highs near 96 degrees across the board, not just in Joplin. In fact, everybody will be pretty much near 90 by the start of the afternoon, and then a few isolated storms, but still mid-90s for your Friday afternoon. Going into tonight, I think we're dry overall, but it's not until we get into tomorrow morning where the front sets up shop on top of us. A few scattered storms in the morning, and then additional chances for scattered storms, hit and miss, as we go throughout not just Saturday, but Sunday too. Highs around 94, so forget about the front trying to scrub out the heat. In fact, it lifts back north to push us near 98 for Monday, your 4th of July, then triple-digit heat by the middle of next week. We're back, hopefully, after the break. We are back, and this morning we're talking about donating plasma or blood. And it's an interesting case about plasma with this one here. Baby K, that giraffe, she was born at the Lincoln Children's Zoo earlier this year. But shortly after birth, she could not be fed from her mother. Because of that, baby K was not able to get the nutrients that she needed to protect herself against infection. She actually ended up getting an infection that she couldn't fight on her own. So the team knew she needed plasma, so they got to work with zoos in the region to come up with a plan. That's when they found out that 14-year-old Jawara at the Omaha Henry Dorley Zoo was able to get plasma and had some banked and ready to go. Being able to get Jawara to get plasma took some years of training, though. He does know how to stand still for 10 to 15 minutes at a time to be able to do it. And thanks to all that hard work and training, enough plasma is banked to help giraffes all over North America that need it. And that brings us to our something to talk about this morning. Have you ever donated plasma or blood? Yes or no? And 60% of us, you said you've either donated plasma, blood, or both, and you can certainly still chime in on the discussion. Go to KOAMNewsNow.com/vote to vote in the Instapoll. You can vote with the KOAM News Now app for iOS and Android as well. Continuing on, the Beagle Brigade is on the scent at airports near you, actually sniffing out potentially hazardous agriculture products for Customs and Border Control. Casey Cronus has more on this story.
In many cases, travelers don't realize the items they are bringing in from overseas could be devastating to our agriculture. Other times, they are trying to smuggle these products in.
What you think, Rocky?
In O'Hare's International Terminal.
Oh boy.
Passengers coming into the country have to go through Rocky, a member of the Beagle Brigade.
Aha!
You may have that.
I have to take it.
Every day, U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers find unwelcome meats, fruits, and vegetables packed away in luggage and cargo.
Fresh leaves are not allowed in.
They do it with the help of highly trained canines.
Rocky himself has found about 30 pounds worth of cowhide in one bag.
When Rocky spots something questionable, items are confiscated on the spot or sent to officers who unseal them.
Can I see your passport?
In the last 48 hours alone, customs officers at O'Hare confiscated ruminant meat, fried pork skins, leaves, yams, and bushmeat. All of it could be carrying diseases and insects that can harm our crops and damage our ecosystem.
Right now, one of the biggest diseases that's running rampant around the world is African swine fever. And it's a very devastating disease.
O'Hare's brigade has 10 beagles, including 3-year-old Rocky.
You like that one? What you got, Rocky?
They are the first line of defense in stopping foreign pests from wreaking havoc on our agriculture.
Every day is a new adventure.
Wow, this is amazing. Those beagles hard at work, and all the more amazing what tries to get passed through customs when people come back into the country. In fact, U.S. Customs Border Protection currently has more than 115 agriculture K-9 teams across the nation doing that very type of work. Consumer News after the break.
And Consumer Watch this morning, fireworks are not the only thing exploding this 4th of July weekend. Fireworks prices are also blowing up. The shortage we've seen over the past 2 years appears to be winding down, but supply chain issues remain, and costs for shipping, raw materials, and labor have also helped conspire to push prices up. Higher demand has also been a factor as consumers turn to at-home fireworks displays the last 2 years due to the cancellation of public displays. The CEO of one fireworks distributor estimates his costs have at least doubled since 2019. The American Pyrotechnics Association says costs are 35% higher industry-wide. And the upside this year, retailers and distributors say they are more than ready to match demand. With the western U.S. experiencing a historic drought, 4th of July celebrations in some cities will look a little different this weekend. Danya Bacchus shows us how the wildfire risk has some places opting for another type of light show.
At the Alameda County Fair in California, the crew from Sky Elements Drone Shows is preparing to light the sky, placing 100 drones on their marks. When night falls, they take flight.
Do you think this is the way of the future?
Oh, absolutely. I think drone shows are going to become more and more common.
This 4th of July holiday, some cities are trading the boom of fireworks for the buzz of drones.
Drone shows don't have the noise element that fireworks do, they don't have the trash element, and they don't have the fire danger either.
According to the National Fire Protection Association, fireworks were responsible for igniting more than 19,000 blazes across the United States in 2018. In Klein Village, Nevada, near Lake Tahoe, didn't want to chance it and made the switch to drones.
We looked at the safety issues around fireworks. You know, I kind of look at the concept of lighting, throwing lit objects up into the sky. And is that the best thing to do at the height of the fire season?
Preston Ward is the chief pilot for Sky Elements and also has pyrotechnic experience. He says each show lasts about 12 minutes and the drones are programmed with a flight path based off a custom animated storyboard. The number of drones can range from 100 to 1,000.
Generally, our shows run between $350 and $450 a drone. So that's kind of the range, and it just scales up from there. So about a 100 drone show runs about $35,000.
For some, it's just the right price for wowing crowds with a safer alternative to a holiday tradition. Danya Bacchus, CBS News, Pleasanton, California.
The executive director of the American Pyrotechnics Association says her group does not currently see drones as a serious threat to the future of traditional fireworks displays because they lack a multi-sensory experience. We'll be right back with more after this, but first let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
A Kentucky man has set up an eel sanctuary in his home. Ashley Kirkland takes us inside it to show us what it's all about and introduces us to TikTok's eel pit guy.
From this leopard gecko to a polypterus indicare and these Goiter River rainbow fish. You would think I spent the day at the aquarium, but this is the home of Nick Tobler, also known to many on TikTok as Cow Turtle.
This is my blue-tongued skink. They're just a big Australian and Indonesian lizard. They just kind of crawl around on the ground. They don't really climb. They're really actually pretty slow moving, so that's why they make such good pets.
Also among Nick's pets, an Australian lungfish, Indian star tortoises, and tarantulas.
It's not going to bite directly down.
So you may wonder, why does he have all of these living things inside his home?
So I've just always been doing it. Ever since I was a kid, I was just out in the woods catching stuff, bringing stuff home.
The recent NKU grad says he's always worked in pet stores, and when he and his brother moved into his grandmother's old home, he found a new use for the bottom part of the house.
The very first video I posted was a week before we moved into this house. I see the manhole corner in the corner of my garage, and it's like, oh cool, my house comes with a future eel pond.
When Nick posted about putting in his eel pond, his followers went from about 200 to over 400,000 followers and millions of views.
This here is eelbow. You can see I actually just walk right up to him
And so far, Nick's eel pond, with almost a dozen eels and several goldfish, is flourishing.
We are back with one last look at your full forecast here. The cold front at the surface. It was farther to the northwest the other day, but this is edging closer, and it did bring some scattered rain and storms along the north of Interstate 70 across northern and western parts of Kansas overnight into this morning. All we're getting from that initial batch is at least a little bit of cloud cover, certainly across our northern counties. Nothing to show for that approaching front on the radar yet, but it might get a bit of a workout later on this afternoon. Right now, though, still looking good for 7th range line, 74 degrees. And edging closer to 78 by 8 a.m. South wind at 8 will continue to do the job to keep the humidity up, and certainly more noticeable as we go throughout the course of the day. Lower to middle 70s across much of the area now, and we are not done by a long shot in terms of warming things up. Again, I'm thinking 78 at the top of the hour, 91 by noon, highs near 96, and that's just around the Joplin area, but everybody will be near 90 to start the afternoon and pushing into the mid-90s for highs, but an approaching front could try to spark a few isolated storms late this afternoon. It's going to be for a couple lucky spots, but we'll see if we have additional rain chances through the holiday weekend with one last look at the 7-day coming up.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. President Biden holds a virtual meeting this afternoon with 7 governors who have recently taken action to guarantee abortion rights. The president is expected to announce new actions supporting reproductive health care. At the end of a NATO summit on Thursday, President Biden called on Congress to carve out an exception to the Senate filibuster to codify abortion rights into law. WNBA star Brittany Griner stands trial in Russia today. Two-time Olympic gold medalist was arrested in February, just days before Russia invaded Ukraine. She's charged with smuggling and transportation of cannabis. If convicted, Griner could face 10 years in prison. AAA estimates almost 48 million Americans are driving or flying more than 50 miles from home during this 4th of July weekend. Those on the road will have to deal with high gas prices, while airline passengers may have trouble just getting off the ground. Since Memorial Day, airlines have canceled more than 21,000 flights, double the rate of last year.
And as I promised, Tanya, one last look at the 7-day forecast. We are back in the mid-90s easily today, despite partly sunny skies with an approaching front and maybe an isolated thunderstorm or two. A couple of spots might see the rain. The vast majority of us will be dry, though. More scattered storm chances Saturday and Sunday, but still hot with highs in the mid-90s. Drier for the 4th, but hotter on the 4th with highs around 98. And then, like it or not, triple-digit heat. That's what's back in the works by the middle of next week.
All right. Thanks, Nick. LeBron's cast of French artist Auguste Rodin's The Thinker sculpture sold for over $11 million at auction. Christie's held the auction in Paris yesterday. The cast, which belonged to a private collector, is one of around 40 authentic copies, standing at just over 28 inches tall. Rodin created the original sculpture between 1880 and 1882 as part of the artist's The Gates of Hell masterpiece. The thinker originally represented the Italian poet Dante, deep in thought about his writing. I'm actually surprised that something that's like a replica of original, and there's so many copies of it, would sell for so much.
Yeah, but it's based off of one of the most iconic sculptures I can think of in art history. Yes, that's certainly something to think about. In the meantime, thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning and to get the weekend going. We'll be back with more news and weather at noon on KOAM.
Have a great morning and an even better day.